Today I want to talk about command line arguments. First, let's understand what the command line is in an operating system or an application. So the command line is where you enter commands. So in Windows, that would be the DOS prompt. On Unix, I'm sitting in my session at the command line right now. And it's where you enter commands such as ls. ls is a command. We enter it at the command line. We often refer to this also as the prompt. An argument, if you recall from your programming classes, is a value or a variable that you pass to a parameter. So for instance, if you have a function that has an integer parameter, we can pass an argument of 5. So a command line argument is an argument that's passed at the command line. Sometimes they're referred to as options for the commands if they have a hyphen in front of it. But for instance, one of the very common ls is ls-l. So that -l is an argument that I'm passing to the ls command, so it's a command line argument. These are often referred to as CLA for command line argument, and in bash scripts, they're referred to as positional parameters. So I just did a command line argument to the ls command, and again, if it's preceded by a hyphen, they're referred to as options as well to the commands. But let's take a look at a bash script that I have, and I'll pull up to refer to command line arguments. Command line arguments in bash, if we look at the bottom here, again, in bash they're referred to as positional parameters, but we can reference these command line arguments with $0, $1, $2, up through $n, however many command line arguments there are that are passed to the script. $pound is a special variable that tells us the number of command line arguments passed to the script. I can print all of the command line arguments with $* or $@, and the only difference being when they're used within quotes of what is displayed. And of the $x, where x is a number, the $0 is a special one that is always the program name or the script name. There's one command that's very useful with command line arguments, and that's the shift command, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. The first thing that you want to do with command line arguments is display a usage clause. The usage clause will tell the user how the script must be run, what the arguments are for the script to be run correctly. If I type the grep command, it will give me a usage clause that says I need to pass it at least a pattern. So I can do grep, and then there's options, a pattern, there's files, and I can do grep -- help for more information. If I run my script, I get a usage clause that just says you need to pass your name and your age. So if I run the script with a name and an age, then it just displays a message based on those arguments. So if I go back to my script and look, my usage clause, all scripts and programs should have a usage clause or should be checking for the appropriate number of arguments. If in this one, again, $pound is the number of command line arguments, so if $pound is not equal to 2, I'm expecting the name and the age. If the number of command line arguments is not equal to 2, then I display the usage clause and I want to end the script. If you don't have the proper number of arguments or the proper arguments, then you don't want to run the script. It will most likely crash or result in a segmentation fault or an error. So if there's not the correct number of command line arguments, display a usage clause and end your script. Otherwise, again, remember $0 is the name of the script, so you can see in my usage clause I use $0 up here, so that it doesn't matter what my script's called, I can rename this, it's still going to display the proper script name. And then my first actual argument is $1 and my second one is $2. So I'm going to just assign those to variables and then do an echo statement. So again, if I run this with no command line arguments, I get my usage clause. If I run it with 1, I get my usage clause. If I run it with too many, I get my usage clause. So when I run it with just 2, the script runs, displays what we want it to display. Now, I mentioned the $** and the $@ and the shift command. So here's another bash script. $* and $@ are just going to display all of the command line arguments. This one, I'm actually looking for at least 4 words or 4 inputs. I don't care what they are. So I'm looking to see if the number, again, the number of command line arguments is $. If that's less than 4, I display my usage clause. And this time I added a little note. And then I end my script. I'm actually not checking to make sure it's words, so I could have just said pass at least 4 arguments to the script. I'm not checking that they're actually words. They could be numbers. But if I did get at least 4, then I'm just going to print them all with $*. I'm going to print them all with $@. Then $* and $@ is really a list of the command line arguments, so I'm going to use my for loop and print them in a different way. And then we're going to show you what the shift does. Shift will just move all of the command line arguments one to the left. So it's a way to process every command line argument if you want to. So we can print out the first one and then do a shift, and print out the first one and then do a shift, and continue to do that until we've processed all of the command line arguments. So shift, you lose the first argument and it moves them all to the left one position. So again, if I run this with an in number, I get my usage clause, and again, a little note there. I'm going to, this is a test. So now I'm going to pass it 4, and you can see when I use $* and $@ it prints out the 4 arguments. This is a test both times. Then my loop, and because in the loop I did an echo, it's printing them 1 per line. Then you can see words after a shift, I lose the first argument and they all move left. So now I just have is a test. If I do another shift, I have, again, just a test. I lost the word is. So this is a short introduction to using command line arguments and usage clause. The key things are command line arguments are entered at the command line when you run the script or the program. $pound in bash will tell you the number of command line arguments. You should always have a usage clause if there are command line arguments for the script or the program that will use that $pound to see if the correct number have been passed. If the incorrect number were passed to the script, you want to display a usage clause and end your script. $0 is the name of the program or script name. $1 is your first argument, $2 your second, etc. $@ and $@ will $ampersand, $* and $@ will both display all of the command line arguments, and the shift command will shift the arguments 1 to the left.